Hey there, stackers. Welcome to Money in the Morning with Stacky Benjamins. Grab your coffee, pop on the headphones, get your personal finance on. I'm Joe Saul-Sehy, Average Joe Money on Twitter. And man, do we got some fun for you today. About 15 minutes of financial planning headlines. We spun the wheel. Doug spun the wheel down here in the basement this morning. And what does he have? Well, number one, we're going to talk about a jewelry heist in Paris. What does that have to do with your money? A little bit to do with your homeowners and your renters insurance. And person number 7,946 calling for doom and gloom in the stock market. And we'll talk about what's that all about. That and more coming up today. But first, the show is brought to you by our Save 50 course. My business partner, Kathleen Selman, saved 50% of her income, and she and I teach you how to do the same thing. It's at your own pace. It's a lot of fun. And let's say that you only save 40% of your money. You fail at your goal. How bad would that be to only save 40% in 2018? Head to learn.stackybenjamins.com for more on that and more courses. Big show today, so let's get it started.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamins headlines.
Latest review of our Stacking Benjamin show just says, I love that woman. They don't like what OG and I do on the show. They just like that woman. So, and said, maybe she can sit in for OG sometime. I thought that was pretty funny. Our first headline comes to us from CNN. Paris heist, jewels reported stolen, found at the scene. Did you see this? All the jewelry reported stolen in an audacious heist at the Ritz Hotel in Paris has been recovered. A source close to the case has told CNN. Previously, CNN reported that a bag found at the scene of the crime in the famed luxury hotel, the Ritz, was likely to contain the jewels worth over $4.8 million that were stolen from the hotel. The audacious robbery attempt was carried out last Wednesday evening when a gang of axe-wielding thieves stormed the hotel, busted into display cases, and snatched the precious jewelry. I don't know if you've ever had stuff stolen from you. I mean, what does it have to do with your money? Don't know if you've ever had stuff stolen from you, but I have, and I was actually at a conference in Chicago last summer and got a call from somebody who was doing some work at my house and said, your door looks like it's been busted in. And we had to have the door frame repaired and everything. But somebody just kicked our front door in. And for whatever reason, our alarm didn't go off. And the police came and they took a bunch of random stuff. So it's a tough thing to see that happen. But here, I guess, is the point. That jewelry in that hotel was worth enough money that had it not been a hotel, had it been your house, you need to have a separate rider for that. Otherwise, the insurance company may not give you what that jewelry is worth. Or if you have any collectibles or art, this is where, a lot of the time it's okay to get rid of an insurance agent, but in this case, a good insurance agent will do you well. And if you don't have a good insurance agent with your homeowners, luckily you're watching the show or listening to the show, and you can make sure that you have a rider. In the case of jewelry, they usually have you have it appraised. It's going to cost you a little money, but it is so worth it. And thank goodness here, all of that jewelry was found. But if it's not, like all of my stuff wasn't found, luckily here in the basement, we have nothing more expensive than those board games behind me. So it ended up not being difficult for me to file a claim. I was surprised by the claims process, by the way, about how that process worked. Maybe we'll on a future show talk more about that. But they don't give you replacement value right away. They give you a percentage of the money, and then as you replace things, they actually then pay out the rest of it. So we had to then submit receipts for the stuff that we replaced. There was some stuff that I just didn't replace. Frankly, they took. This is the weird thing. They took. I don't have a lot of time to play video games, but I like to play video games, and it was funny. They took the television. Right below it was my brand new Xbox One, brand spanking new, maybe had it for a week, sitting right below the TV, didn't take that. Came into my bedroom where the old Xbox 360, like this thing has been beat to hell. They took that. No idea why they took the cheap one, didn't take the expensive one. Also, my Sonos speaker system didn't take. I think that they didn't know how expensive that was. They didn't know what it was, or they took stuff that was just easy to pawn. The bad news was they took my computer, the big computer that I use for work, took that thing, my big Apple computer. So frustrating. But anyway, if something is valuable, like jewelry, like collectibles, like art, have that stuff appraised so that you don't have bad stuff happen. Let's see what's going on before we move on to our second headline. What's going on for people watching us live on Facebook? You can watch us live on Facebook. We tape every day in the morning at a random time in the morning. But if you head to our Facebook page, you'll see when we are. Jordan was just listening to the Friday Stacking Benjamin show. Nice job, Jordan. Well, now you're here with us today for the short Money in the Morning show. Karen says that's a lot of money for jewelry. That's a ton of money for jewelry, but it's the Ritz Hotel, right? That you're not going to see cheap costume jewelry at the Ritz. Karen also says that they have a rider for one of their optics, a spotting scope. I hope they didn't steal any. They didn't steal any board games. They would have stole my viticulture game. I would have been way more angry than I was. For me, it was just frustrating. If somebody feels like they need my stuff more than I need my stuff, I kind of feel bad for you, but okay, it's just stuff, right? And Amy says she's good as long as they don't take her doggies. And Felice, from where a lot of my family is, Solon, Ohio. I've got family there, Felice. Maybe we got to do a meetup there in the Cleveland area. That'd be fun because I'm reliably there a couple times a year. All right, let's move on to our second headline. Takeaway there, by the way, homeowners, renters insurance. A lot of people don't even have renters insurance, but not only have that, but get that appraisal on those expensive things. Headline number 2 comes to us from MarketWatch. Piper Jaffray's Craig Johnson thinks the stock market could correct by 20%. This is the same man who called a new bull market in 2012. He says, take your profits now. This piece written by Howard Gold says for the past 5.5 years, no one's been as steadfastly bullish as Craig Johnson. In August 2012, the chief market technician for Piper Jaffray called a new long-term bull market for the stock market. In which he said the S&P 500, then trading around 1,400, could hit 2,000. It was an outlandish prediction. Many of today's most bullish investors were then on the sidelines grumbling about government debt and the phony rally engineered by the Federal Reserve. But the S&P's almost doubled since then. And whenever Mr. Gold, who wrote this piece, has checked in with Johnson, he's remained bullish. But now he says we're entering a danger zone. And I read this and I groaned. I groaned almost as hard as I did 2 days ago when I read that because we had an awesome first 5 days in the stock market, that the rest of the world was going to be fantastic. That the rest of the year the S&P 500 was going to be great. Are you kidding me? Who knows where the stock market's going? And if you're making moves based on that versus based on your long-term goals, I think you're missing the mark. It's funny. Mom's number one rule, think long-term, right? Don't think short-term. Don't think about the fact that the market might go down tomorrow, might go down next week. If you're thinking about that, you're thinking about the wrong stuff. Here's what you think about instead. When do I need the money? If you start with when you're going to need $1, then you work backwards to today. You take this huge field of investments that are out there and you narrow it to a field like this. Like, people freak out. So new investors get really, really afraid. And I get it, because there's so many choices out there. Like, which one do I pick? The most popular question we get on the show is some variant of which one do I pick, right? Which investment? And instead of trying to study everything that's available, you make your job much easier by starting with that $1, look at when you're going to need it, and then look at investments historically that have done well over that time frame. Give you a couple examples. 5-year goal's 5 years away. The stock market really goes up and down a lot during that time. Not sure I want to be in the stock market unless it's a really, really, really low risk stock. But the bond market over that time, OG's least favorite thing, but over 5 years in bonds, we can get a decent return without a lot of waggle, without a lot of up and down. So a bond or a CD is probably a much better place to be than a stock. 15-year goal, I'm completely with OG. If you can handle the risk, then stay out of the bond market altogether and go 100% stock. It's going to go up and down, but who cares? Like to this gentleman's point, that the stock market might go down. If I don't need the money for 15 years, who cares? I'll put more money in, right? I'm looking at it as an opportunity instead of looking at it as being fearful. If I need the money 3 years from now and I haven't pulled my money out of the market, I'm not worried about what this person said right here. This Piper Jaffray guy said. I'm very worried about the fact that I've got money in the wrong spot for a 3-year goal, and I should start moving it out. Not because Piper Jaffray said I should, but because of the fact that that it's not right. So think about landing the plane, right? As you get closer to your goal, think about which investment's right along that path. So much easier to do it that way than to do it other ways. Jane says, back to the Facebook comments for those of you listening on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. Jane says she's worried they let the cats out. The first thing I worried about, Jane, was that Cooper, the cat here, was let out, but they found the cat. And it was funny because I was on the phone with the police at the time, and the police officer's talking. And I said, we have this cat, and do you see the cat? No word about the cat, sir. Just hold on a second. And I hear him on his radio. Beep. The homeowner I'm on the phone with says there's a cat in the house. Make sure you look for a cat in the house. Then he keeps talking to me about stuff. He says, so I'm walking through this part. Oh, hold on, sir. Cat? We have a cat. We have a cat. Sir, I can tell you they found the cat. Cat's fine. Just really, really overdoing it for the cat. Amy says she's back. She's 55 years old, 90% in the market. Her portfolio is quadrupled since 2008. So I'm staying in. Amy, I'm with you. I stay in, not because it's quadrupled, but because you don't need the money for a while. If you need the money for a while, if you need the money soon, like if you're thinking about using that money soon, I think about taking that piece out. Not because of where the market is going or where it's not going, but because the stock market's not a safe place if you need the money in the next few years. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for hanging out with us on Facebook or hanging out with us wherever you're listening or watching. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on Stitcher, wherever, thanks. We'll see you next time. Go Stacks and Benjamins. Bye-bye.
Money in the Morning is created by Joe Saul-Sehy and is brought to our channels by our producer and engineer, Richie Rutter-Reese. Stacking Benjamins and Money in the Morning are for entertainment purposes. Before making moves, consult with your financial advisor. Looking for training sessions? Kathleen Selmans has a great suite of Stacking Benjamins tools, so head on over to learn.stackingbenjamins.com. Hoping to chat with us on the web? Say hello to Shannon Cowan, our social media guru and community manager in our Facebook group. She can be found at stackingbenjamins.com/basement. From the basement, I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. See you tomorrow.